What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapali here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Goals Podcast. This is episode 15, 1-5, and I'm super excited about my guest in the studio today. Huge fan, of course, you guys know I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and this is one of the top 100 greatest Chicago Bears of all time. First round draft pick out of Oklahoma. He's a Sooner, y'all. And defensive tackle, just getting in there, allowing Brian Urlacher to do his job per his words. We got in the studio today, 3-time Pro Bowler, author, singer, psalmist, fisherman, Tommie Harris.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me on here, bro.
Man, I appreciate you being here, brother.
Thank you, man.
How you doing, man?
Hey, man, my best, bro.
Listen, I reached out to you when I moved to Dallas, and for people that don't know, we actually go back a little bit. We went back to Pastor John Hanna.
Yes, sir.
It was a men's retreat I first met you at.
Back in the day, man.
Right.
Yeah.
It was with New Life Covenant, Pastor Choco and Pastor Hanna, relationship there. And anyway, we're a men's retreat. Like I was just new in my Christian walk. I'm like, what am I hanging around with a bunch of men for? But bro, I'm so glad I went. Not only because of the experience of getting closer to Christ, but getting to know you.
Yes,
and
sir.
I didn't realize you were such a big prankster.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, they said they had somebody. Hey, they said go in there, man. We got somebody got to sleep on the floor with you. Remember, we all clammed in one room.
Right.
And I had this little fake rat, and you weren't that pleased with what happened, but I threw a little rat on Matt, and Matt jumped around like a 4th of July firework, and that was a great time, bro.
I thought it was because I was wearing, white snakeskin shoes. I thought you said something like my shoes needed something to eat.
I don't know. Matt, when I tell you, I probably was about 23 years old.
Wow, no kidding.
I got drafted when I was 20. I just turned 21 on draft day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a junior.
Yeah, that was like my 3rd year in the league. I was only 23. So excuse my immaturity.
It's all good. Guys, listen, I mean, you had a killer career. I mean, you were a 3-time Pro Bowler. You were a Lombardi Trophy, Big Willis Trophy winner, Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. But our conversation with you today is not the player, what you were. Our conversation with you today is who you are. Right. As a man, as a believer, as a father, as a grieving husband. And folks, if you haven't picked it up already, we are talking about his book, Endure. The first chapter of this book, I had to put it down, bro. I'm reading the first chapter of your book, bro. I'm getting choked up right now. And stuff you had to go through, bro. And so for people that don't know about that, because a lot of people know you as a football player. Yeah. And they're starting to get to know you. And I want to get your story out there as much as I can on this platform because we're a faith and finance type of podcast. Can you share a little bit about a synopsis of your book and what really motivated you to write it?
What motivated me to write Endure was losing my wife, Ashley, probably about, I think it's going on 10 or 11 years. I can't really, I'm so far past out into the healing process.
Yeah.
It becomes something I try to, as you navigate through healing, from pain to healing, there's a process of talking about the wound and then living the scar. So I'm on the other side of living the scar, and I just went through a lot of grieving counseling and health after being at the top of my career. My wife fatally died from a brain aneurysm suddenly. And
it was during surgery, right?
During surgery. She went to have a brain aneurysm. I was married for 41 days and got a phone call that my wife passed on the table of a brain aneurysm. But I didn't find out till like 3 days later because we had her on life support. So I learned a lot about machines breathing through you. Playing dead in the land of the living. That's what she taught me, my wife taught me a lot. And it's just a process of that led me on the way of mental health and starting to noticing things. When everything's going your way, money's going your way, you can't really feel a lot of people's pain. It's not your concerns, it's not your worries. But that book was just to encourage the ones that's been blindsided, encourage the people that are in the depths of fighting to be alive, encouraging the person that wonder why I woke up today, why am I still here, and just giving them a charge to never ever quit and to keep going no matter what comes.
You know, in your book, you were mentioning that you just landed, you're in baggage claim, and you found out your wife is in in life support, and some guy you just randomly met in the airplane said, if you need anything, I got private jets. And
Yeah, so this guy actually owned the Austin jet. He owned a private jet company, and he ended up riding. I didn't know why, but we sat and we had a conversation that whole morning. We talked about our families, but while we're in the air having this conversation, my wife is fighting for her life.
Yeah.
And I'm not, unbeknownst to me, I believe when I land, I'm going to meet her and see her. And all within a flight, I talked to her that morning, and on the flight, while I'm in the air for 2 hours and 45 minutes coming from Chicago to Dallas, I didn't know that she was fighting for her life. And while I'm bragging about my life, life is changing.
Yeah.
And just in a landing, this guy is sitting there talking to me. Whenever you need a jet or anything, I was like, you don't have a jet company on the plane with me. You know? But as soon as I get the baggage claim, where she was having surgery, they called, the surgery center called me and said, Tommie, you have to hurry up and get to Oklahoma. Your wife stopped breathing. I said, what are you talking about? I just talked to her before I got, she had a brain aneurysm on the table. I went back to the counter. I did not know what to do. All the counters said the flights were full, everything's booked.
Yeah.
I reached in my pocket, and lo and behold, I found the jet guy's card, and I called him right there, just a leap of faith, and he answered. And I said, man, you know, the family we were just talking about and all this, the people in Oklahoma just said my wife passed away, and I need to get there immediately. There's no flights. He said, Tommie, where are you going? I said, Killeen, Texas. I was going to Killeen to see my parents, and then I was going to fly to Oklahoma to meet up with my wife. He immediately he said there will be a jet waiting for you in Killeen. In Killeen. And in that moment, the way everything was happening, even though I was scared, even though I didn't know what was going on, I still knew God was in control. Like, what are the chances that this thing could be set up like this? So my whole story is that you never know what God is doing. I've always been a fan of Jonah. Like, even when you think you're doing the wrong thing, God is always doing the right thing.
The belly of the whale.
Oh my goodness. God always has a way of doing something better than you can think. And in this story, man, it just tells you how you go from unknowing to pain pushing you to knowing God, and how suffering pushes you closer to God. So that's what the story of Endure is about.
Yeah, and for those of you who read it, he's got it's sectioned between every other chapter. It's cleats on, cleats off. It's like when you're playing during your playing years, and cleats off is when you're off the field.
Yes. So I wanted to humanize. I noticed that when I was going through different counselings or different help, a lot of people associated being wealthy with not being able to suffer. Like, why are you here? You have all this money, you have all this. And I wanted to humanize the athlete and allow anyone to know that everyone goes through pain.
Yeah, they got families too.
Everyone goes through a battle. No matter how much money you make, no matter how, we all fight through these episodic trials that go through life. And that's a book that helps you kind of navigate through what you're dealing with and know that you're not alone.
You know, when reading here, this is just the first chapter. I mean, I'm like such a heavy book in the first chapter, bro.
Yeah, just take your time.
Yeah,
you know, it's heavy. The first couple chapters.
So you know, you got all the money in the world, and you're like, you're telling to the doctor, bring her back. I got you all the money you want. I got it. Just bring her back. Right. And the doctor's like, no, she's got gray matter, which means she's brain dead, and then they're just keeping her alive for organ donor. Mm-hmm. Right, and so, at least in that, at least your wife is living in, gave life to other people's lives because of her organs. Yeah,
but the way it happened, it wasn't the nicest way, because I was still praying for God to make her move.
Yeah,
and I didn't know why people were moving in.
Because you found out because somebody told you. Yeah, the doctor didn't tell you.
No, my agent came in and told me while I was praying in the chapel. He showed me the phone, and I found out over the internet that my wife had passed of a brain aneurysm. And the doctor thought I should have just knew, because he said she's gray matter, that means there's no fighting chance. Yeah. So I thought when they were feeding her organs that they were feeding her. They were just hosting her, getting her organs ready to be transferred.
And then if that wasn't bad, right here on page 126 of your book, and then your daughter, proper sounding of her name? Talia. Okay.
Yeah.
Talia died of sudden infant death syndrome. That is SIDS.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah. So right when I think
How old was
she was 4 months. So right when I think I'm recovering from this thing, and I'm just getting to a place where I'm 4 years in trying to get over this, 4 to 5, and then boom, I come home from the gym, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm feeling good. I just dropped my baby off. My new fiance had just went off to go back to work as a doctor. That was her first day back. She dropped the baby off with her parents to watch the grandparents, and when they walked back in the room, she died in her sleep.
Wow.
So
and then your nanny B, had a fatal head-on collision. Only a month after you wrote the book.
Yeah, man.
And then your father passed away 9 months on his way to having another scar in your life.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. And the thing about what you said, you were getting interviewed by Smokey Norfolk. He's got a song that every time I hear it, the I Need You Now song.
Yes, sir.
Every time I hear that song, bro, I'm like, I gotta pull over to the side. It's like, I'm a mess after hearing that worship song. But you're going through all this stuff, and you said to him in your interview, you said, death is not something that happens to life. It's in life. Can you rephrase that the way?
Yeah, death is not a thing that happens to life. It's a thing that happens in life, right?
Correct, absolutely.
It's a thing that happens. Life is not over with, right? Yeah. And that's a hard process, right? And when I tell you that charge, endure, that's the only name, because I was thinking of ouch, right? It was overcoming unexpected circumstances healthily. As I was moving through mental health, I recognized that in football, becoming a man, you lose your ouch I lost my ouch at 10, right? Don't be a punk, don't be a chump. If you want to play this game, you got to be a man. Mm-hmm. And your dad's going through little league, then you're going. So it's like, when was the last time I said ouch? When was the last time I said that hurt me or that bothered me or that? Yeah. So when I went through all these different mental health specialists, dealing with grieving problems, dealing with all this other stuff, I kind of felt like that overcoming unexpected circumstances healthily kind of took away from the ouch was kind of a little too sad being a ball player for me, because I wanted to challenge something. Yeah. And I felt like endure challenges anyone never, ever quit. Wherever they're sitting at right now, wherever they're hearing this, no matter if you're feeling like giving up, never, ever quit. And I had to understand the reason why is because one man's obedience, like Pastor Anna told, is connected to so many other people's destiny. And when you recognize that your pain is not about you, it's about, if you're able to grow through this, you inspire others to keep them to continue to never ever quit. And if they can pick up this attitude, they inspire others to never ever quit. And imagine if the world picks up this attitude. That is a change like no ever. So that's what it's about, man. Trials are gonna be here. You can't quite seem to call, like what's his name? David Matterson, Batterson. The author, he wrote Circle Round. He says, this is what he says: you never can always sometimes tell. Mm-hmm. You never can ever always sometimes tell. And I put why on there. But you can't, in this life, you can never tell when anything is gonna go wrong. And I came up with a saying from there that helps me every morning. When I wake up in the morning, I say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice. I will be glad in it. I'll find something to rejoice about, be glad. No matter how sad I feel, how bad I feel, I have to find a way to move out of there. But then another thing that God started speaking to me as I begin my healing process is, Tommie, I view everything as only time will tell.
Yeah.
He's rich. Only time will tell.
Time will tell is a great revealer, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's poor. Only time will tell. Yeah. And you realize that I've recognized more at this time in my life to let time tell and not let me tell what time is doing.
Now here there's in your book, in quotes, you're wrestling with God.
Oh yeah.
You're angry with God.
Oh yeah. I don't know how to be angry with God because I'm so religious. I come from a church, and that's a bad thing. But I believe that's what God wants us in total honesty.
Yeah.
And as I navigate through the story and begin to speak to God, I begin to get a closer relationship by giving God my pain.
Yeah.
Talking to my Father about what I'm going through.
Here you put in your book, I got God on my side. I've got connections. I got all the money in the world. I'm Tommie Harris, for Christ's sake. You got this, TH. Next play. This is like being in a tough game. You always got to make a big play. Let's go. It's game time. That was your affirmation.
Yeah.
That's what you kept telling yourself. And still, life didn't go the outcome didn't go the way you wanted it.
No.
And you, the gentleman that wrote the foreword of your book is Nick Vujicic.
Yeah,
And,
great friend.
Yeah. So how did you run across Nick Vujicic? Because he came and spoke to our conference, and the moment I saw Nick Vujicic and I thought I had problems, I'm like,
Oh, man.
forget about it.
Nick is one of the most remarkable humans I've ever met, and I call him the true giant. He's the real giant, man. And I met Nick on a speaking circuit with Dr. Fab at one of Dr. Fab's retreat. And from there, we grew a tight-knit relationship.
Can you, Jordan, can you show my screen real quick just to see for the audience who Nick Vujicic is? He was born with what? No arms, no legs?
No arm, no leg, and with a metal spine, pole up his spine. And I mean, the guy would invite you over to go fishing. He can do, and he makes you feel no excuses, just results. And that's a guy every morning I think about when I get into the depths of my stuff. But I don't feel sorry for Nick. Nick teaches me every day to wake up and have courage.
Yeah.
And that's that's all it's about, man. Just teaching people how never to quit. You might feel like quitting sometimes, you might be in that place, but just give yourself one more second, one more hour, one more minute. Just keep pushing and see what God will do next.
So he calls you up to go fishing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he invites me over to go fishing.
So you telling me the other day we were having cigars at your OU alumni restaurant at Chamberlain's.
Yeah, shout out.
Apparently he's got a Maybach. I mean, Nick's rolling. He's a great investor.
Man, Nick's doing well, man. Nick has all kind of investments, land, living better than any. You better not feel sorry for Nick. Nick is doing. God is blessing Nick. Nick is showing you what God does when you speak about His glory.
Yeah,
He takes care of.
You're telling me about his driver.
Yeah, his driver. What he does is he influences a lot of. I don't like to call them gangsters, but just guys that's been through a lot.
Yeah.
He's touched their lives, so they touch his life every day. All the guys around. So don't mess with Nick. Don't think because he got boys around him that can move. So yeah, God's covered him.
He knows who needs to call.
Yeah.
Push comes to shove. So somebody's going through some stuff right now. I mean, with America going on, we talk about endure. I mean, the way I'm looking at a lot of the problems and issues in America today, people are very sensitive. For example, a former Chicago Bear, Mike Singletary, right? I love the guy, watch him as a player, but it doesn't seem that he has the capacity to, I don't know, is it relating with players? Because it's both on a pro level. I know he coached here at the high school level with a hard-nosed type of coach like Mike Singletary. Is that getting through to players today? Because I don't know if they have this type of endurance muscle, or just taking tough shots.
Well, just like Mike Singletary, Coach. Just like Coach Singletary, we're not bending. Like that's the standard now.
Right.
What you recognize with a lot of men in today's time, everyone's bending. Everyone's going with the flow. And that's the problem that's the issue we're having with our younger men. Don't know, there's no leaders. And when you do find a leader, it's like all men in today's time are on whisper. It's like you can't talk loud anymore. You better not move too fast. Don't be too, but that's a man.
Yeah.
You in control. It's like we're losing our identity. The more and more we sit back and let the world tell us how to adjust. Like the kids that get Mike Singletary, Coach Mike, are blessed and they do well. They didn't like it before. They didn't like it, but every kid you hear, they sing His grace and they thank God at this time and where they at in today. All that tough love He put on them.
Yeah, he's Samurai Mike.
Drill sergeant,
Iron Mike.
Man. He's not changing for anybody.
The things he did on a football field, I mean, the fact that he was wearing a cross, I mean, you wore your
Psalm 91.
Psalm 91, what's it called, the nasal strip?
Yeah.
Right? You're You tell me about some of the opportunities, because we had Tim Tebow speak at our event. He had John 3:16. You had Psalm 91.
Mm-hmm.
I call that the protection psalm.
Yes, sir.
You know, so you took key from that from the NFL from wearing it, but you said, okay, I'm still wearing it.
Yeah, I had to deal with Breathe Right, so they paid half, and then I'll pay half. So every game.
Fine.
Oh yeah, but it was necessary, man.
Sure,
it was necessary. But you see what guys do now; their whole cleat. If I was in the league now, my whole cleat would have Bible verses all on it and all kind of stuff. But you couldn't do any of that now.
Can we talk a little bit of football?
Yes, sir. Let's
okay.
roll.
So, how much do you think the game has changed since when you played to where is that right now, and is it good or bad?
I wouldn't say it's good or bad. I think that it's moved more from the physicality part into show business.
I mean, these late hit penalties, I mean,
well, you're basically paying to play. Like that, guys are making business deals now on if they want to play the game violent or not pay this fine. I don't want to pay this fine. So you're making these decisions in the middle of plays. And you're costing your teammates championship. You're costing because the game puts it on the player, which is not fair. I think they should evaluate that. Make the rules. They make up rules every week. The game is changing however they want to make it. I don't think that's fair on the player, and the player has to pay for that.
Because people see it in slow mo, but you're there. You're attacking the ball.
And you can't slow down. 1 second slowing down, that's you getting hurt over the next. So it's a very fast game, a very violent game. And I think we could cancel all the conversation out if you just guarantee the contracts. If you guarantee the contracts, the fans, the players, they don't have a problem with we've been doing this for cheap for 100 years.
Yeah.
Even though guys say we're paying this, we're getting paid this much, the owners are making billions and billions, and TV deal billions and billions.
I think this year in baseball, Kevin Griffey Jr. is going to be the 5th highest paid Cincinnati Red on the roster. He's been long retired because they guarantee his contract to pay for the rest of his
that's smart.
For X amount of years.
That was a smart deal.
So you know the money behind football better. So what's how come they're not guaranteeing the contracts? I mean, if they sign you sign a let's say $100 million deal and it's fully guaranteed, because right now as it stands, if we as the fans see $100 million contract being signed, in your mind, well, what's guaranteed?
I see 48.
48%.
I see 48 million. When you say 100, I see what the player's taking.
How many do the math? What's the math behind that?
50%. Yeah, what you just said.
Okay.
It's 48%, but I'm halving it already because you're getting taxes taken out. You're going to get a lot of money deducted after that. So you got to count that half already. The player never sees that number. That's the difference. A basketball player, a baseball player, if they don't see that number, their family's going to see the number. And football players, half of that is done. So you're posing and you're living like you had that number.
Yeah.
You don't have that number. You went and spent most of that stuff thinking you had this number, and then you get cut, like Ezekiel Elliott. Who's going to take up the rest of this contract? They only paid you $28 million for a $90 million contract.
That's right.
You look good for a couple years, but now you're out there stuck with your 28, and the 28 got taxed too.
Yeah.
That was your guarantee. So I just think it's all monopoly money.
And so now he's cut. He's a free agent, so now he has to start from scratch all over again. So whatever the team's going to pay him.
Yes.
Because he's cut. They can't.
They can't.
So the team, they may have some dead cap type of money they have to pay still.
Yeah, so they'll probably do like a 1-year deal or to make him prove himself again. And that's the hardest. You talking about being a Pro Bowler and all this, and the team cuts you and your value now goes to now you go from making $10 million per season to $650 or $1.2 million.
Yeah.
You're gonna start asking yourself, is it worth me playing football?
Is that what Urlacher went through? Because I know that's what they're trying to.
That's what a lot of guys, Fitzgerald, Urlacher, a lot of guys. Once you feel like I've been paid as a prize horse my whole career, I'm not about to go and get what a donkey takes. Like, not like that,
sure.
but that's the real guys. Don't once you, like Mike Tyson said, you fight different in silk sheets. Once you felt them silk sheets, man, it's hard to go back out and do that. And You got to weigh, do I have enough money to quit, or do I got to go back and do another? Yeah. And that's where guys will make a decision. But right now, the league has a problem because guys are becoming smarter. Guys, the entrepreneurship in them, the NIL deals, they're getting into business faster. So guys are really using this as an opportunity to come in and have an exit plan at 3 to 5 or 5 to 8 max, and say grab as much money as you can because the severity of this sport is not paying out for what it's worth. So Patrick Willis, that's one of the guys still should be playing, but he had the resume to say, let me put together this many 8 Pro Bowls back to back. Okay, I've done enough. You got the
linebacker?
The linebacker, 49, great talent. I was sad that he retired, but I got it. And then you see Luke Kuechly. He could have played longer, but guys are getting smarter. They're knowing that, okay, I got a good career. They know when to call it. Calvin Johnson. I had a great career early. I don't have to go play 13, 14 years, and the contracts aren't not guaranteed. I can make, in this market today, with a good image, with a golden jacket, man, you got deals to turn down all day. Peyton, man, how much is Brady gonna get just to talk?
Was it 300 mil?
350, I thought. 350
in 1 year.
Check.
So his entire playing career summarized in one broadcasting.
One man.
So you were telling me one of the most humiliating moments of your entire career was the NFL Combine. How come?
I just felt like it was unnecessary, right? And especially knowing our climate in history. Yeah. And being an African American, I really thought it was very. I don't really know the word for worse than embarrassing, because you knew better.
You felt like you dehumanized?
Yeah, you dehumanized. You knew better. You knew that society is far beyond. So when it's your turn to go out there, you take off your shirt. You got to stick out your tongue. You got to open your hand.
They're measuring you up. Yeah.
Turn around, and they're telling you, they're yelling out your numbers and all that. I said, it's just like the market, and that was a process but I didn't think about this till after I was finished. You don't come to I knew it was bad, but I wanted the opportunity.
Yeah, when you get drafted, for sure.
And I get it, why everybody, even if they hear me now, that's not going to stop a kid from wanting to try, but I think they could do better ways of navigating that.
Do you think with the NIL deals right now, it's going to affect the talent coming into the NFL? Because now they're making the money and now they're out. And most college players are going to get drafted anyway.
Yeah, I think it will, but I think that it's going to affect owners. I think the talent of football is going to change because owners are not going to go for a guy that, if me and you own the team, will we go for the best player now, or we would go for who's blue checked and have the most followers, who's going to fill our seats?
Interesting.
So now you have that. You got
who's verified on the way in.
Yeah, you got guys that are getting drafted.
Who's bringing eyeballs?
They know he has a following of 5 million, 6 million. Come on, get him, and he's going to bring some people too. Yeah. So it becomes we're in that place now where it's a business deal on top of a business deal now.
Yeah, because they're not bringing an athlete, they're bringing an influencer.
That's right.
On their platform.
That's right.
And they can cross-share that audience.
Yeah. Well, not just an influence. If the athlete so happens to be an influencer, it can help his draft status because it helps the team. That's a new way of looking at it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't just want him. He don't have any followers. He's a great talent, but this thing is about you. Boxers are fighting. Mayweather fought a regular person. Yeah. This is new. This is the new.
He's fighting YouTubers.
This is what it's about now. So you might not get the most talented person anymore. You might get the most famous person.
So that's where it's changing.
Yeah, because stadiums need to get filled, and owners want to. I don't believe all owners want to win. I don't believe that. I believe they win when they fill their stadiums out, and the bonus is when the scoreboard is. They happen to have a Brady, or they happen to have, and the New England Patriots got lucky because we talk about Brady like he was a first rounder. Brady defies everything about why you even have a
combine and all that stuff, right?
He defies why do you have a scout? And
sure.
your scout was dead wrong. You know, you know. So.
But I mean, look at the guy. I mean, he didn't look like he didn't look like an athlete in Michigan.
I mean, you can't tell because, like, think about it. I got drafted at 20, and I turned 21 on draft day. And I came into a locker room full of old men. Most guys come out of college at 24, 23. I'm already in my 4th year as a kid.
Yeah.
You get into that league, man, you see the process of people growing. You don't know who's going to – if you stay in there long enough, some guys had their best seasons in year 9, 10, 11. Like, if you get better with time. And that's what Brady
look at my screen here real quick. This is Tommie here in college. were you wearing Ephesians? Is that what you're wearing? Mm-hmm. Which I love King Solomon, man.
Oh, yeah, it's Ephesians.
And then this is Tommie here. What this is with you in Chargers?
Boo.
Yeah. This is who we destroying over here, man.
Oh, that's my brother. That's Hasselbeck. I'm sorry, brother. I just talked to him when I was in Germany.
But this is the way I ran into you at church. Your head steaming. You're just like, man.
Yeah.
You know. But
that guy there.
So what was it like for you to have to restart all over again? You go through this. You're fighting through this. You're enduring through everything life was throwing your way. You're signing with a new team. A team that didn't draft you, a team that is it a tryout process? Is that what's happening? Are your agents telling you what team is the best fit for you?
Yeah, well, I didn't have to try. When I was pretty, I was like Zeke. I was a good name that was cut, that was on the market, so I could shop around.
You can find a job,
Yeah, I could shop around. But my issue was all the schemes. See, people don't understand. You can't just play for any team just to have a job. If you want to be successful, you get on a team whose scheme fits your style of play, if you're fortunate. Yeah. And that's how the draft works. Most people draft what they need. Yeah. When you're a free agent, you go to wherever. Yeah. If all my spots were filled, the teams already need the defenses I wanted to play for already had their guys, so I had to go to a 3-4.
Because so you had over the nose.
I had to play all in that, not rush, but hold up stuff for the other guys.
You're the plug.
I've never been that. I've never been that guy. I'm a playmaker.
So we went from 4-3 to 4-3, 3-4 defense.
To holding up. That's why I said boo, and you should have seen it. That was like one of the worst experiences in football for me.
Wow. Yeah, just because of the scheme. By the way, speaking of a scheme, coming into this draft, the Bears got the 9th overall pick, and who was thought to be the number 1 pick overall, because the Bears were going to pick number 1, was this defensive tackle from your position from Georgia, Jalen Carter.
I like Jalen.
You do? Okay.
I don't know him. Something sparked on my heart to text him. I had a chance to watch him the last 2 years, and I said this is any good D tackle that I can see push the line back further than what the line. That you got something special, because he's going to eat up time. He's either going to make plays or disrupt blocking schemes, and that's what guys get paid big money for, and to play with your right hand and your left hand down. So the threat can come from both ways. That's why Aaron Donald is such a threat. He can play on the right side. You find him on the left. Find him at defensive end. You could play over the nose. He might drop back and cover. Like, you want these type of special guys. But I had a chance. Something told me to text him, to DM him, and I DM'd him. God just told me, speaking in this young man's life, and tell him to make sure, give him something that you wish someone else would have told you before you got drafted. Yeah. And I begin to just tell him, keep his head up, make sure he takes the right people with him. Everyone can't go on this trip. Yeah. This is a small window that closes fast, so gain as much as you can quick. Yeah. And get your whole pit crew. I told him, you look at this. I look at football to younger guys now that have NIL deals. You have to look at this business you're going into like the Indy 500. You're only as good as your pit crew. You're only as good as your financial group, your massage therapy, your people is going to take care of your body. Now the people are going to take care of your social media, your image, and all. You got to have all these things together. And as long as you can keep this together, someone's going to pay to put an emblem on your vehicle. And that's the business. Someone's gonna pay. You keep that vehicle running in shape, keep it looking good. Someone's gonna stick a sticker on it. Wonder Bread, Starburst, Skittle. Someone's gonna come and sponsor that vehicle if you can keep it up running.
So when you're thinking about the game of football, I mean, your son. I mean, you're showing me pictures of your son. I mean, he's a big boy. I mean, is he as big as you now?
Almost, yeah.
What,
almost
13,
bigger.
14?
Yeah, 14. Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's huge.
Would you advise him to play football?
I don't advise him to play football, but I didn't allow him to play football until he wanted to make that decision.
If he was getting scouts looking at him, and it was between that and basketball or another sport, let's say your son is equally talented in basketball, football.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you guide him to one sport over the other, and why?
No, I would allow him to make his own decision. Like my parents stayed out of my business. I didn't have the parents that hovered me, took me to practice, if my parents came to a game, I was happy. You know,
that was so
saying?
cool to see you getting drafted. I remember that day they drafted
my
you.
dad was shouting.
You're at home.
Oh yeah,
on the couch. You're like
shouting. They used to play his video. They used to play his video of him dancing and shouting around. But yeah, man, I just really feel like at this time with what we know in today, in 2023, watching Will Smith do a beautiful job with concussions, seeing the information that comes out about, it's not a game to me. And then at the end of football, the worst is when the fans go away and the guys got to go find out how I'm going to pay for what I just done to my body.
Yeah.
The NFL doesn't help you. You're going to have to chase down, just like a VA, a person from the VA. You're going to have to show these people what you did to me, and they're going to look for, you got dudes with concussions that they're putting out looking for paperwork and dates to be somewhere. And it's like set up to be, it was the worst, the most frustrating thing I had to do trying to receive my disability was going back every week trying to explain what they did to me.
Yeah.
And I thought I was being compensated on the back end. So I would tell every young man that goes in there from day one, whatever they get a copy of, whatever they take of you or of your x-rays, your MRI, you get a copy of. Yeah. And you store all that data until you're finished, and that's going to be worth something. That's one thing Reggie White told me from day one when I first got in. And it helped me.
So I'm going to transition to, I'm going to shift some gears here. But before we shift some gears, I want to listen to some music here real quick before we shift some gears. Because we're talking about faith and tithing here real quick from Justin Bieber and Russell Wilson being part of this church. But Jordan, can you play a song real quick that before we move on to the next transition? Pain, bro. That's pain. I feel the pain.
But in order for God to breathe life back into me, I had to be deflated, deflated.
So you're a country singer. Look at that.
Soul country.
Soul country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what inspired that? What was that creative process like, man?
Man,
I feel the pain in those words, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what writing became very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
But this song all happened by accident. Just but God don't make mistakes. But it wasn't planned. It wasn't. I was sitting out at Toby Keith's celebrity softball game, and while I was in the shower, after the game, I was in the shower and I was singing a little riff, and Billy Dawson, a country artist out of Nashville, he said, "Who's that singing that? Sing that again." And I said, "What?" He said, "Say that again." And I hit the riff. I said something. And he said, "Oh, my goodness, you sound like Chris Stapleton and Ray Charles mix." I said, "Man, stop bluffing me, man." He said, "Serious." He said, "Man, if you ever want to come down and work and do some work, come down to Nashville and I got you." The next week. I'm always big on men keeping their word. And a man say something, I'm a challenger. So I called him right back. I said, hey, man, you remember you told me? He said, when you coming down? I said, I could be down tomorrow.
That's great.
Come on. I get down to Brentwood. We work on some music. As soon as I get there, he takes me to Rivers Rutherford. He made the Country Hall of Fame, and he helps me write 2 songs that we worked through. And it's just been great, man.
Hoop, there it is, man.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Amen. Hallelujah. Let's speak of faith. Jordan, if we could look at this here, there's something I wanted to ask you about because you're a believer. You're raised, and through your book, you're talking about how important being raised in church was for you, for your parents to bring you to church. There's a church there that has Justin Bieber and Russell Wilson as members, but they're accused of requiring their employees, the church employees, they required them to donate part of their earnings as a tithe. I mean, they basically take it out of their check. What's your thoughts on tithing, and should a church, if you're working for a church, impose that be a direct allotment back to the church if you are working for them?
If you are working, that's interesting. I think a lot of guys are becoming more creative in their approach. But my tithing, I give 10% to. I tithe to different organizations, foundations, people that I think that are doing big needs in the community, different things, cancer research, grieving homes, boys and girls clubs. And then from the other part is I try to pay attention to people in my life that could use this. Right, like as we go through these difficult times, I try to consider people that are working hard, people that I know are struggling, people that I know, and I try to help there and give when I can.
Why is tithing, for everybody that's watching this, there's a lot of baby Christians that's also watching this, new believers too as well. Why is tithing such an impactful portion of your faith walk?
Well, tithing just shows that you're telling God that you invest in me, I want to invest back in the kingdom. And I can do it through material. If God is giving you an abundance or giving you an overflow, and you have excess fat, that's for the people. That's for the mission. That's for other people that are hurting, and that's what it's about. And even when you don't have the money, even when you don't have the, you can give, you can serve, you can pray, you can give a hand out, give a hand out, give a hand up, not a handout. But you can help people. You can serve in different communities. There's all different type of ways of tithing. But it's just giving, as long as you're giving. I don't want to get into specifics because you can't say anything in today's time. But tithing is very important to show God that He invests in you, so you should give back to Him.
That's right. It's just not right. It's not resources, also time, and also your talent. I want to go in this area here too as well. I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but this teacher was. I'm sorry. No, here. This teacher was banned from adding a Bible verse in her email signature. A Bible verse in her signature. Right, and yet a lot of folks can. By the way, look at that Bible in the classroom. Mm-hmm. It was since the Bible has been removed from the classroom, I think a lot of moral decay. When you remove the Pledge of Allegiance, you remove people that can pray, let alone carry a Bible in school. I think a lot of moral decay starts happening. And by the way, I'm noticing that more in the. I'm from Chicago. I don't remember seeing the Bible in school or people talking about faith in school. I'm noticing more here in the South.
Oh yeah, it's the Bible Belt.
The Bible Belt, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's sad. Matt. Like I told you earlier, I tried to mind my own biscuit so my life would be gravy, and in this time, I really just think it's. Whenever we're in crisis, that means God is speaking. And I think the people it is extremely disappointing to know that we come from a country that is built on God, and now God is leaving us, and we can't understand why so much troubles is happening. And I believe that God is speaking right now in this moment, that the people of God come together and the people come together. And that's what he's doing right now, where he's about to make no choice that we're going to have to start work. We have got caught up in all the wrong things, in my opinion, of color, of hierarchies of positions, respecting people for financial gain and what they do. And I just had to learn, like, I had a chance to go off to a place called the Hoffman Experience, where 46 of the world's richest people or rich people were in one place, and they didn't know how to move forward with life. And I had a chance to work through my stuff about 6 days with these individuals of different colors, different beliefs, different everything. And it all came down to the last day, what everybody was trying to arrive back to, and that was love. And at the end of the day, we can call it what you want to call it, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, all these different names. I call him Jesus because that's what I feel. That's where I'm from. That's the love I feel in that name. But
Amen.
I just feel like it all comes, Jesus came here to show the world love. For God so loved the world that he gave. And it's in a place to, the loving of people is, God's putting us in a place right now where it's about to come back to the love of people. Yeah. And we can't control it.
Tommie, give us some wisdom here. But let's say you want to live on somebody, right? You're giving of yourself. But like, no, Tommie, but you got to do this for me. You can't call me this. I identify as this. You got to vote this in. I got to judge you because of who you vote for, you don't vote for. How do you extend love to somebody so combative and unwilling to reason?
Well, I don't ever get that. So I think because I love them. And I may not agree with what they do, but I know I love you because God created you, and I love God, and that's my response. And I also have a compassion that I thank God that that's not my feat, too. And you also, a lot of people talk against people's struggle, but thank God that's not your struggle. So have compassion that it's not your struggle. Okay. Right? Like, it's not you. That could be you. So I also try to say, replace face. Treat other people like you want to be treated. I replace my face. I put my face on your face while I talk to you. And how would I want to be talked to? How would I want to be pursued at? How would I want a subject to open up to me? And I can only control that, and that's how I try to do with others.
There's some videos here. I love your thoughts on a couple of Jordan. We're going to go to some of the reaction videos here. First one here. Let's stay on this topic of faith, and I'm going to flip back to sports. Where is that clip of faithfulness of God? I'm sorry. Stop trying to get people. Stop trying to get back people that God is trying to take out of your life. Let's look at that one. Stop trying to get back people, because sometimes people removes people for your own good. Friends, family, good social partners. Let's take a look at this clip.
Stop chasing people who are leaving. Stop chasing people who don't get it. Stop chasing, trying to get back in your life, people that God is trying to take out of your life. Let them go. This is a time in your life that you can no longer continue to grieve about who walked away, who abandoned you, who forsook you, who left you, who walked away. You've got to stand up and recognize that God doesn't need anything that you lost to bless you.
Right.
God will always use what you've got left. Let them go.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I got chill bumps. Yeah.
TD Jakes, man.
Yeah, man.
Went to his church a couple times here in Dallas. What's your thoughts on that?
Bad
breakup, career, you don't have the right deal, right relationship.
Yeah, but letting go is difficult, right?
Yeah.
And I had to understand that we're all God's process, man. Like, everybody's under construction, everybody's going through, but there comes a point in time in your life, and I think it comes with maturity, where I don't think some people can let people go at some moments, like, but time will do it. If you can't make that decision, that God would just make some things uncomfortable. When you outgrow things, have you ever tried to put on a shirt that you got in shape and it don't fit it? It's uncomfortable to be around. So I try to let some things in my season I needed that I was trying to let go. And I'm talking from a real point, because we can get on some hierarchies and start feeling like, okay, but if you've ever suffered through anything or been through pain and suffering, I've had a threshold where I kind of stay, and that just spoke to me. I kind of stay with people, and I long suffer with people, and I expect that same thing when I'm messing up or when I'm in it. But if it costs you too much pain to be in it, I think you, like he said, let it go. But I just can't agree with what everybody is saying. I know that as I process through my life, I've known that I've held on to things longer that I wanted to let go, but I couldn't.
Yep.
And then I prayed so long, or I exercised or practiced a certain mindfulness of something that I got bigger in such a way where this thing just became uncomfortable to be around. It cut itself out because the work I was doing.
I think sometimes when you face a breakup or a removal of a business partner or association or a friend, it's almost like you screwed up by doing so, and you can't screw up. Right? I can't let this person go. I screwed up. I can't let I made a decision a year ago to be in this relationship or a business partner. I can't because I'm going to show the word I screwed up. Well, sometimes, you screwed up, and you got to let them go. And the thing is, when I have faced that situation and I just let people go, or I had to say, you know what, I need to make a decision and let them go, let go of this person. The next day, as much as I felt bad about it the day before, I'm a lot better. Like my business, my family, my personal relationship.
But when you look at
more free.
When you look at that from a business aspect, sure, that's a no-brainer. You don't. I got a short window in business when it comes down.
Do you?
To, oh
Okay.
yeah. Business is business.
Yeah.
Right. In God we trust, but in man we put it in writing. You don't do this. Right. You don't do this in writing. You're out. Like that. Football taught me that. I don't care about your feelings. We care about what you're putting out on it. Soon as that skill set falls, you know what this game is about.
Yeah.
So in business, yes, but in relationships, I feel like some people, like I heard Dr. Evans say, that it is your responsibility as a believer to sometimes take on your brother's burdens. When someone is going through but that's a man standard. That's a person that's full. Sometimes you got to stand in there and hold that for him when he can't hold that up for him. You don't just let it. Everything's about now is if you do something, you're in an unhappy relationship, get out of there. If someone don't go on with your... Some people need a little more love. Some people need a little more fight in there. Nobody's ever fought for them. Nobody's ever held on to just give them one more day or one more chance. And it's up to your discretion to choose what. But for me, it's hard for me to quit on what God put me in front of. I don't believe God make mistakes.
Amen. There's purpose behind that. Jordan, let's go to the next one.
But in business?
In business. No, go ahead. Let's go to Mark Wahlberg. What did he say about faith? I mean, I'm so glad to see a lot more Hollywooders starting to talk about their faith and how important it is in their lives. So Mark Wahlberg here on faith.
Take 2 days a week off from the gym now. I don't take a day off from getting on my hands and my knees.
That's right.
And reading my prayer book and my daily devotionals and first of all, expressing the gratitude that I have for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. And then, of course, asking for the strength and guidance to be able to use the talents and gifts that God's given me to help others and inspire and know what right is and to do so. Be the best husband I can be, best father I can be.
You said in that interview also that up until, tragic things start happening in your life, that you've only known God in the good.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're starting to see some of the negative things that start to happen in life as you start to get older. And, I realized too, Tommie, that when I was in my 20s and 30s, I got invited a lot to weddings and birthdays, graduations. And the older I've gotten, I'm being invited to more funerals.
Yeah.
And so different perspective of the spectrum that you were experiencing in life. What's your thoughts on Wahlberg and his faith?
Well, I love Wahlberg, and I love that he's at the peak of the mountain, telling it on the mountain, not afraid to tell the world how he got here, and that's the most beautiful thing. I think he's one of the top beacons. Him, Tim Tebow, all the young generation guys that are coming out that could be off on vacation houses doing their own thing, but they never stop to tell them, without God, I wouldn't be here. And I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day, about giving it all. All things go back to God, man.
Amen. By the way, Steve Harvey's saying the same thing too as well. Let's check the clip here now. what Steve's talking about. God is always there for you. Let's take a look at this clip.
Steve Harvey needs to go ahead and preach.
Is it from Cleveland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I asked God every day when I was homeless. At the lowest point of my life, I asked God every day, could I be rich? I lived in a car, dog. I ain't had no backyard. I ain't had no TV. I ain't had no phone. I ain't got no bathroom. I ain't got no sink. I asked God every day, could I be rich? So I cut a deal with it. I told God, if you let me make it, when I get there, every chance I get, I'm gonna tell everybody it was you. Here I am, and it was him.
That's right.
But let me counter that though. You're praying for God to keep your wife around.
Right.
Right?
Right.
God, let me cut a deal with you though.
That's right. I already when I was watching that, mine is backwards. Right? God stripped. Stripped and stripped. But in that process I became enriched. And I'm priceless. I recognize that I can weather the storm. And when you know that, when you're tested, battle tested, a lot of folk just talking because they sitting happy right now. But I've been through everything you possibly could imagine at an early age, and God has stripped me, and he can trust me in front of different people. I don't have a money. I'm not against anybody that's for it, but my whole thing is about enriching people. And when you enrich people with love and show them that they're needed to be here and they're worth being here, man, God becomes priceless. It's not amount of money. It's not amount. I'm priceless. I'm truly enriched. I know without the grace of God woke me up, that keeps my mind, my body works, my arms are moving. I know that I didn't do this. I know that God is doing every day of my life. So I'm truly enriched. But I believe that's cool too, what Steve is talking about.
So it's kind of like rags to riches type of come up. And then yours was
opposite. Mine was your money can't buy nothing. Your money can't buy your favor, can't buy your family back, it can't buy. So I had to learn a different perspective on, God, how do you want me to proceed? Like, how you go after money when your money couldn't fix what you wanted to be here for?
Yeah.
So now my whole thing is in the service, and God, you provide. You provide for me as long as I could to continue to keep. I cut a deal with God to go help other. Never let me walk past someone that had those eyes that I had, or those shoulders slumped over, or those. Let me notice that person and give me the courage to go and speak a word of life into them.
That's how I feel sometimes when, not sometimes, all the time, I'm coming across a single dad. Because when I met you, I was a single dad, 3 kids, man.
Man.
So I was just getting my business up off the ground. I mean, it's starting. I was getting a little bit of traction when I met you back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s.
But Matt, I couldn't understand that then.
Got it.
But after I saw you, I had been through so much as a single father. It was I'm getting chill bumps now. Because you might not understand. I saw your growth and your evolution. But I also saw when you was broken in that place, and we were all trying to figure out what to do as a man. Who's going to help us with the next navigate? What steps are we taking? You were new in your faith too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had been in the church a long time, but I was just starting to take a hold of my faith by myself, without my parents, without my mom, without the influence of my community that knew me. I was on my own, and it's different when you get away from your church folk.
Right. And you have to find a new family, a new church family in a different city.
Because that world is real. Oh, man.
Let's finish out here on some videos here on reactions to some videos here on athletes and money. Why pro athletes go broke after they make $5 million. Let's talk about that. Let's look at that clip. Why pro athletes go broke after they make $5 million. Let's take a look at this.
You see a guy making $5 million, taxes, you're going to take 50-something% of that. And then your agent takes 5%. You're down to 1/8. Your wife wants a car. You want to help your mom out.
Something.
Yeah, everything adds up. And then you're stuck with these insurance payment, the house payment, the utility bill for an 8,000 square foot house. And those bills add up. And eventually, like you said, I mean, the income stops.
Should the game provide money management?
They're starting to do like a rookie symposium. I went to it, and it was like the first year they were doing it. And I thought it was terrible because I was there to learn about money. I understand the media. Talk to people, interviews, great. Help me with manage my money. There was nothing for it.
Okay, so what's the first thing an NFL player should learn about money?
Don't spend it. Don't spend it. And the first thing I would say is, if you're going to invest in yourself, in the education of finances.
So should I be in an apartment, have some roommates with other draft picks, other rookies?
No, I think you should live close to the facility, and you should live in a nice townhome, because you if you're a first rounder, it all depends. So if you're coming out and you're making $60 million, that's different than a 6-7 rounder who has to manage off of basic salary.
And that's majority of the league.
Yeah, that's what it is. And most of them go broke because they feel like that NFL title gives everyone the right to live like a millionaire. So you're around all these guys that you thought you should have been first round. So the little money you got, you buying this car that you know you shouldn't have, or different things. But I don't believe NFL players are broke. They might be broken, but I don't think they're broke. You know what I'm saying? They might have a moment of cash flow issues, because most people that are broke has no influence.
Yeah.
So now they just have to recalibrate, and they have to come back and change the way they think, re-educate themselves, and they're already built on a foundation that is ready to be built upon.
Rookie minimum salary is $750,000. Next year, increase to $870. And if they have more experience, with 2 more experience, they have $940. So basically a millionaire.
Yeah, but they weren't when I played. That was like $250,000, $300,000 was the minimum.
Gotcha.
You know, so right now, and it's all relevant, right?
Yeah.
When I was playing, they were saying guys' contracts like Walter Payton contract, it was nothing to compare to, but price of milk wasn't the same back when they played. Everything is all relevant. So just guarantee the contracts, and guys won't go broke.
Gotcha. Next clip, Jordan, why professional athletes do go broke?
Don't have financial literacy, you're asked no matter how much money you make. This is why we see professional athletes, boxers, football players, basketball players, baseball. It doesn't matter who. They will get $15, $20 million purses. Like Holyfield right now lives in an apartment. Evander fucking Holyfield lives in an apartment in Philadelphia and is barely getting by. The dude was getting multiple millions of dollars per fight because he was surrounded by yes men, but no one took the time to teach him financial literacy so that he would have some assets, rental properties, like precious metals, like index funds, so that he can have residual income coming in, and that money would be out there working for him.
And I think for him too as well. I mean, you've been through a lot of divorces.
Right.
So how do you, what's the discernment there with Holyfield and picking the right woman in your life?
Oh, I'm learning that now, man. That has everything to do with everything, because it can cost you. You know what I'm saying? So I think the education of everything is what I've been learning about, because I've had my own financial differences with being asset rich, cash poor in those moments. But Les Brown helped me with that. You're not broke, you're just going through a cash flow issue. And when I recognized that, I learned that there's a pivot. Right? Yeah. And I think most guys go broke because they don't want to admit. And the more they don't admit I need help, the bleeding keeps going. But you have a lot of different assets, a lot of different things you could leverage. A vendor shouldn't be living and that means you got to submit somewhere or humble yourself. You got too many relationships.
Yeah.
You've helped too many people along the way.
Sure.
So I just think with the right humility, vulnerability is a big thing, and it's scary to a lot of guys that it happens. And your life is not over just because your numbers start. I walked in a bank when I got my second contract, and I asked these people. I was the first to ever be paid $10 million per season at my position in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. I walk in there next week to my same bank I've been with. I had to be probably about 24, and I got to my new deal. I built a relationship with this bank. We were learning about finances. They knew I was a young boy from Killeen, Texas, who didn't know. And we had an honest relationship. We were teaching, learning. So I come in after my new deal. They congratulated me when I came in the private bank. It's a big bank in Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
I walk in there, and I'm asking my attendant. I say, Yvette, I say, let me see, ask the president, can they put $10 million in one room and let me come see it? Yeah. She said, what? I said, ask them, can they put $10 million in one room and let me come see it? She got up, she said, hey, she called the vice president. She said, hey, Tommie wants $10 million in one room. So he could
in the vault.
He said, what? Everybody started laughing at me. I said, what's so funny? I said, what is so funny? They say, Tommie, we don't hold that much money in a bank. We can't just bring $10 million in cash in no bank. I said, so I'm supposed to believe because my number flipped from last week to this week, I'm supposed to act different? Yes, Tommie. So when people numbers go down, that's why they be mad? Yes, Tommie.
Yeah.
Mine never been predicated. I come from nothing.
Yeah. So it wasn't identified and tied to a dollar
It's
amount.
never a dollar. You can't make, my dad always made, money don't make you.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like,
There you
I don't care how much money you got. A butthole comes in all colors. I just try to stay away from the stinky one.
but they all stink though.
You right.
Tell me a good smelling butthole. I mean, I don't know.
Stop it.
But look at this. Let's look at the screen here real quick. This is Evander getting help from my screen here, Jordan. This is Evander getting help from Marcos Lemonis and Alex Rodriguez. I think he was on a reality show to get him back on his financial feet.
Yeah.
So he's getting some coaching. He's getting some counsel. I don't know what the follow-up to this. It was a couple years ago.
But do you think it's fair that every person should care? Like, is financial literacy not like forcing someone to read? You need to read, and if you don't read it, then you are not going to get what you. Well, what if I don't want? What if I don't like reading? Is that saying stay in your position, stay in your hurting place? What if this has never been? And you're talking about African American boys who have not been schooled or not been like we don't. You don't know if you're going to live tomorrow. So you want to go buy that chain, buy that car, get that. So you tell me, sit down and talk about your future. And what future? I'm just getting comfortable where I can lay down at night without
My whole
work.
life was lit up to this moment.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah, it's tough.
And now you got people telling you you're going to be a stupid athlete that retired, and but I don't really. This is the big problem too. Most athletes go broke because you trust the wrong financial people.
Boom.
It's who advising you. You have to really do more of a due diligence on who you allow to advise your money.
You're a fan of Usain Bolt.
Yes, sir.
You're a fan of Usain Bolt. So sadly, he trusted the wrong guy.
Yeah.
His whole entire career of running track.
That's sad.
Gone. Wrong guys he trusted in Jamaica because it wasn't securitized like it is in America.
And it's really catch me if you can.
Yeah.
Once your money's gone, nobody's feeling sorry you're an athlete that got your money stolen and taken away from you because you trusted these people while you were doing your art and your skill, and they said they had your back, and then you come back after you finish and realize your whole bank has been robbed. Like, that looks crazy on that. You can have all the financial literacy in the world.
Do you have a checklist of advisors? Like if these are some of the things I look for, otherwise they're a red flag. They're not my coach. They're my financial coach. They're not my business advisor.
Yeah, at this point, yes. Anybody advising my money has to make more than me.
Okay.
I don't want to talk to some because I'm just paying your bill to be in front of me. Yeah, if you don't have more money, I want to be with guys that have more where I can shoot for the mark. If you're not checking in with me or I can't get in contact with you daily or we build a rapport on how to move. Like I paid my guy, I don't know, in the middle of, I got drafted in 2004, so 2008 was that big hit. When I retired,
big hit meaning big
recession.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
I forgot you were very technical.
I got you. Because you're a football player. I was like, what a hit.
Stop it. No, so like in 2008, I after I retired, I recognized I didn't know what we were in. When you have a lot of money, recessions aren't really real. The people are going off on their boats. Life is still happening if you can ignore it. Right, that's what wealth allows you the opportunity. You can ignore what's happening in things. But after the end of my career, I recognized that my financial advisor didn't make me any money and he didn't lose me any money.
Kind of like.
But all I did was pay him over 100 every year to manage
fees.
my money.
And it's still
I
the same.
could have just saved with a regular bank and did you
without
see
paying
what
the fees.
And then my same advisor was advising another teammate of mine, a player of mine that played on another team that I knew, and he would bring his spreadsheet compared to mine.
Yeah.
And his was he was making big time money.
Yeah.
But he was risking a lot, and he told me not to risk, and I was only doing what he told me to do.
Gotcha.
But this guy was telling him what he wanted him to do with his money. So I'm gonna tell anyone that's going in this position, these people work for you.
That's right.
So you gotta seek education, seek other people around you that know more about this, and just do your due diligence.
let's go to the next clip. Jordan, 3 athletes who are terrible with their money. Because sometimes you learn more, and then after that, we'll go with the Kobe to wrap up.
Here are 3 athletes who are terrible with their money. Number 1 is Mike Tyson. So Iron Mike earned over $400 million during his boxing career. And in early 2003, he declared bankruptcy. So where did all the money go? It went from limousines to Siberian tigers to just blowing it left and right. And Mike Tyson claims that crooked promoters didn't help. In fact, he sued his previous promoter, Don King, for $100 million, claiming that Don King cheated him out of tens of millions of dollars over the years. Number 2 is Antoine Walker. Antoine Walker earned over $108 million during his 13-year NBA career. It was said that he never wore the same designer suit twice. He was lending financial support to over 70 friends and family. And in 2010, he filed for bankruptcy after writing $1 million bad checks. Number 3 is Terrell Owens. T.O. made over $80 million during his playing career, but in 2012, he also filed for bankruptcy. Some of the things that he cited were bad investing habits, the housing market crisis, and paying over $50,000 per month in child support.
Yeah. That'll do it. That'll do it. It's funny. The 3 I was mentioning there, we've actually had conversation with 2 of them. Looking forward to having a conversation with T.O. Iron Mike, he had bad wiring. He thinks everybody's in his life because of his money. So if he said, if I just get rid of my money, bad people will stop coming in my life. That's his identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he correlates money, of having bad people in his life. And then who was the second one there? Who was the second one there? Basketball player.
Yeah.
Antoine Walker. We interviewed him at a cigar lounge in Chicago, and he, like what you're saying, he trusted the wrong guy. Yeah, he trusted the wrong guy to manage his properties.
Yeah, but Walk also, all 3 of those people you looked at, you're never going to give, even Holyfield, if you go over their life, they were all givers.
Sure.
They were all givers. That's the part that the world is missing right now. Like you're being punished for being pure as a giver. These guys didn't just take limousine. They took children out with cancer on their last time. Antoine Walker would take the whole South Side and give kids an experience, pay for people houses that didn't have home. That's when you're an African-American athlete, that money belongs to us. When you make it, if your hood was behind you or whatever had to protect you, you're not just coming back home you didn't make it by yourself. And that's the whole thing that a lot of guys have to work through at this point, like starting to separate from the crowd and learning how to do better jobs at setting up ways to give. Not just giving there's smarter ways
to earn it.
Earn it. There's starting a business, or even the guys that's living with you from day one. When you bring them to stay with you in this new city, put them to work. Show on taxes that you're paying them a position. Just like LeBron. LeBron did everything in a business movement. These weren't just homeboys. It's a company.
Yeah.
So that's what guys need to understand now. When you're getting drafted, you're coming out the gate as a business.
Yeah.
And you need to act as one.
Right. And if you're not doing your job as part of the crew, you got to go.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go.
For right now, we'll see you when it slows down.
Come back, though.
Yeah.
Come back, though, when you want to improve.
If you're prepared, if you're ready.
You improve.
Yeah.
And so, I think a lot of those guys didn't have those checks and balances to say, if I'm going to put you on payroll, if I'm going to give you money, here's how you're going to earn it too as well. And the downside to them being a giver is that the people that they gave money to, where are they now?
Right.
Where are they now?
That's big.
So
be careful who you're right.
Yeah, with Walk, thank goodness that I think it was Northwestern Mutual. They have him on salary. That said he tours all the different college campuses to advise the college students about money. Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company. So they get him touring to all because they're an NCAA sponsor. So they got him going to all the different colleges to educate the college students, the student athletes about finance. So good on Walk with that. So he's got that going on. Let's go wrap up this podcast with this stud, and he spoke at our conference. Sadly, 3 months after that, he passed away. But Kobe, he was backstage with us. I'm like, Kobe, wait, why are you doing business with us? He goes, so what are you doing? He goes, I just smell on you guys. You guys are obsessors. I only do business with obsessors. And I said, Kobe, do it again. So I recorded it. It's on my IG. It's got one of those reels. And So I just never thought that 3 months later he passed away, man.
Unbelievable person.
So let's take a look at what Kobe said here post-career. What are you supposed to do?
Retire, you don't have that source of income that's coming in, right? So even if you save over a 15-year career, if your spending habits remain the same, eventually that well's going to run dry, right? So unfortunately for us athletes, retirement age is 32, 34 if you're lucky, 37 like myself. What comes next, right? So the question needs to be, what comes next? What can I do? What is my passion? Not where I can create the most value or generate the most revenue, but what is my next passion? When you find that next passion, then everything else will make sense.
So my question to you, Tommie, by the way, fruitful advice?
I worked with him.
Did you? Awesome.
Yeah, at the Players Tribune.
Wow,
I worked for
awesome.
him and
really?
Drita.
That's great. What's as we send you out, Tommie, I appreciate you gracing our podcast, about your time, investing time in the Millionaire Goals podcast. What's Tommie's next passion? Passion.
My passion right now is just encouraging others along my journey of mental health, to navigate a place, a safe space for men. I'm just encouraging. I love encouraging men, and I feel like it's a huge need in this time. And it also helps me. It feels like I'm doing my part, and it gives me something to wake up out of bed to know that I'm not the only one that's sitting here going through something, dealing with something, but to encourage myself daily to be an inspiration to someone else who's on the verge of quitting or giving up, to never ever quit, and to make it in your mind that it's not an option. Quitting is not an option, and this is what it's all about: showing up every day and encouraging others. That's my passion.
What's your word of encouragement to young men coming up right now? And there's so much distractions coming their way. I mean, so many different social things we have to navigate. We were talking about earlier, some things we have to navigate, things we can say, not say. What's your message to young men today?
First, my message to young men today is stay away from women that aren't ticklish. The second thing that I would say to them is to, take this opportunity in life to not waste it, and to really, to hear it from me at my version of myself at 39. I'll be 40 at the end of this month. And to just thank God, be grateful, man, to find gratitude in whatever you're doing, but please don't waste it. And your life matters, man. You deserve to be here. You don't have to look for a purpose, because God doesn't make mistakes. That means you're on purpose. And just continue to walk every day and to get better and better each day. That's the mission.
Awesome. Tommie, appreciate you coming by here to the Millionaire Goals podcast. You got to come back.
Yeah, righteous.
And for everybody, make sure you follow Tommie Harris at Tommie Harris here on Instagram. And make sure you pick up a copy of his book, Endure. And I'm telling you this, get your seatbelt on and get the Kleenex out, man. But to see what this man has gone through, some of the, right, it says in his subtitle, playing through life's hardest hits. And I know life isn't easy all the time, but I think when you hear stories like Tommie and you see the examples of how to get through some of this, and you follow the big man upstairs to guide you and through it, what does it say in Proverbs? Lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. I think that will help you, equip you mentally, spiritually, emotionally to deal with life as what we're going through now in America. But with that being said, Tommie, super honored that you're here, man.
Hey, thank you,
Thanks for being here. So that being said, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please put your comments in the comment section below. You agree with us? You don't agree with us? A topic that you want to hear down there, please put it in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the Millionaire Goals podcast. Hit like, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Every Wednesday, noon Central Standard Time, Millionaire Goals podcast. We'll be here. We'll see you next week. Till we meet again. Continue to live smart. Continue to love smart. Be money smart today. Bye-bye.